Cycle 6 Q&A from Discord. Let's see what happened this week. Question number 1. Given the core and technical issues you are facing and the difficulties to solve them, are you still confident about releasing the game at the end of the year? Yes, of course we are confident that the game will be released by the end of the year. Personally, I doubt that. That said, artificial core has never been known to accurate predictions regarding release dates. However, at this time, there are no circumstances that would prevent us from achieving this goal. I will leave a question mark, okay? I will leave a question mark on that one because I don't know. Like they said, they're not known accurate predictions. Why do we have this confidence? The reality is that not much work remains in terms of content for the full release. Many elements are already in the semi-finished state, ready for final production stages. And yet, they released a newsletter 1 week after this, saying we are delaying the content release for a month and a half. The most challenging phase is happening right now. We are addressing core systems and infrastructure. Unforeseen issues consume a significant amount of resources, which impact our full release schedule. Since early access began, our primary focus has been on technical and gameplay issues. Some systems don't work as intended, while others completely broke. We had to fix many critical problems in the shortest possible time, which we believe we managed successfully, even though some tasks remain unfinished. Even skeptics cannot deny the fact that Corepunk is significantly involved from its early alpha test to the launch of early access and beyond, both technical and gameplay-wise. We are making steady progress, gaining momentum in production, and gathering vast amounts of technical and gameplay data from live servers. We are becoming more experienced and objective. Look at the progress we've made in the past few months and projecting over the next 10 months. It's clear that if there are no major unforeseen events, and yes, they do happen to us, Corepunk will be more than ready for full release by the year's end. Well, just a reminder, Christmas 2025. Let's hope so. Cycle 6, question 2. My question about aggro buildup. How is this calculated when hitting an opponent, especially in constellation in a group? Is only the total damage of the opponent / mob / boss counted here, and the one who does the most damage has the aggro, or is it more complex and the number of hits, for example, is also added? And how is the additional aggro added to the tank tree, for example? And how does healing play into this calculation? Good question. Everybody wants to know that answer. The aggro system has several bugs that we haven't yet addressed. Some have already been fixed, but others still need work. These issues make it unclear to players how aggro works in a certain situation. Once we fix the logic completely, players will notice these changes. To answer your question, the aggro system uses a complex formula that accounts for all types of players' actions: healing, damage, buffs, modifiers, multipliers, and so on, depending on the player's setup. Each action has a specific weight relative to aggro points, which determines a player's position in the monster's aggro list. Additionally, the taunt mechanic still has a bug. Taunt should place the player on the top of the aggro list and equalize their aggro points with the current top player. We plan to address these mechanics in the near future. Okay. Buffs also count. Okay, that's new. Question number 3. My question is about armor penetration. How is this calculation of hitting an opponent from armor perspective? Is the fixed armor penetration plus percentage armor penetration added together and then subtracted from the opponent? Or is this calculation done one after the other? The fixed armor penetration is subtracted first, then the percentage armor penetration is then added. First, and fixed armor penetration is deducted during the calculation, then percentage armor penetration, and then it's added to the deduction from the opponent. Okay, I'm lost. But just to simplify this, basically the question is whether the percentage armor penetration and the fixed armor, they added, or one goes first and the other goes second, or whatever. It's kind of crazy, that one. Percentage armor penetration applies first, reducing the enemy's armor by a percentage based on the player's stats. After this reduction, flat armor penetration is applied, reducing the remaining armor by 1-to-1 ratio. Oh, so Okay. Okay, that's interesting. Question number 4. Hello, the game has been deserted by a large number of players and groups that were present from Alpha 1 to Early Access. I have around 300 plus hours played and now I don't have the motivation to play, and I know that anything that's done will go to waste at the next major. There are a lot of problems that are driving players away, notably the lack of transparency and what the devs plan to do in the future. Today, there's no way to optimize your equipment apart from spending your days to farm bosses. Too easy. Easy, all people can do it. And you find 0 boss alive for spending your day talking about NPCs. Many hardcore players are looking for difficulty to avoid intense farming. Main question. Why is attack speed limited to 2.5? The shaman can reach this speed with only good weapon. Talents, mastery and fusion boost this speed, except that it will go from 2.4 to 2.5. In normal case, you must have 3 or 4. What's the interest of this class which can hit faster than all the others? Knowing that there's only advantage in the speed, as it doesn't really have any physical spells. Shaman's strength isn't attacking speed alone, but its versatility, allowing Shaman to reach much higher attack speeds than the other classes, 3 or 4. Would result in a single dominant build, eliminating the need for experimentation. The Shaman can do many things: physical DPS, magical DPS, melee DPS, ranged DPS, support, healer, tank, and more. That's the class' real strength. For example, Shaman has a talent in its weapon specialization tree that's allowed it to exceed the 2.5 attack speed limit. Currently, it's the only class that can surpass this cap. As for hardcore players leaving due to lack of motivation or the game feeling too easy, it's always disheartening for us as developers. We're working hard to provide meaningful reasons for them to return. I have no comments on this one. Question number 5. Will you make the great steps great again? The steps, like other zones, are undergoing improvements. For example, we are polishing mobs and bosses in the area, as well as balancing loot drops. Well, we have to wait that. There's a lot of work to be done there. It's a huge area and has a lot of things. There's actually more players at the moment. Yeah, I mean, people are getting back into this as things are getting fixed. That is true. Which also, I was told, has returned the lag on PvP, but I'm not sure because I don't play at the moment. Why is PvP flagging on-off such an instant process? This causes the most issues with griefing. Why not follow other games models where you can only flag on and off in safe zones? Yes, we already created the UI for this. We just need to finalize the code. We'll try to push this task through soon. Okay, fine. That's a good question. Can we please have a decent roadmap? When I started playing the alphas, the idea of Corepunk was hard MMO for a niche of players. The hardest part about this MMO right now is understanding the staff objectives inside the game. Like every important project, we need to be able to understand your priorities, what you aim to change, and when you expect it to happen. We see that many problems arise because we poorly presented gameplay mechanics that did not clearly define the game loop. Bugs and the absence of all intended mechanics in the game have also played a role. This criticism is fair, and we are working to fundamentally change the situation. With the next content update, we aim to present players with a detailed breakdown of gameplay. The first stage of this breakdown will explain the gameplay of all progression systems and how they are interconnected. This will help both new and experienced players better understand the systems. Once everyone understands what the game is about and how to play it, we will begin hosting in-game events for competitions in various areas. Well, a roadmap would be good, but they said they don't have a good track record on keeping deadlines, so I'd rather not have a roadmap. Or I would like to have a list of things to come without dates on it, because that will cause problems. Question number 8. How many of the developers spend part of their free time playing the game? I can't answer this question precisely. We don't collect such company-wide data. Most developers, but not everyone. Now that is a politically answer. That is a political answer right there. Question number 9. Do you plan to link all the items to accounts and not characters? You remove the possibility to change the binding of the item by using the synthesis machine with an upgrade kit. I actually think it was good. I don't really want to farm all over again on alts just to enjoy PvP with other class specs. There is no immediate plans to change this. The ability to create transferable items via the synthesis machine was a bug. Most items in the game are now bind on equip, which helps address the issues with alternative characters. Feature mechanics will further expand item functionality and transferability. Just to say that these were answers for the 19th of January. On the 28th, a week later, more or less, they have introduced new items in the game where you can make items, bind on equip, bind on trading, crafting. So look at the website and see some more information on this. Cycle 6, question number 10. Can we expect a wipe anytime soon? The game is very different from the day the EA started. Even items were deleted from players who just played the game and not punished for it. So, when are we going to be able to have a first start for everyone again? Well, it's been open to this. A wipe will only happen if it makes sense or if something critical arises. Right now, it doesn't make sense to wipe when there's still so much data to analyze, so many improvements to make, and so much content to add. Our plan is to fix everything, showcase the game full potential, and then decide if a wipe is necessary. Yeah, okay. My opinion, wipe before launch. It's a saying. Bonus question number 1. Are the skills for upcoming classes being reworked so the ones currently being on the website are not up to date? Yes, it is our to-do list. Core and heroes have undergone significant reworks and the information on the site needs updating. Yes, it does. Bonus question number 2. You have an open world in your game where you can enable PvP mode, but you don't have a single object that will be at the center of attraction. Are you planning to introduce content specifically for the open world, which would stimulate players to fight for it? I would like to see one boss with a long cooldown for those spots you will have to fight, and it's not 100 and not 100 archosaurs in the desert. Well, basically he wants what, a world boss with a timer so everybody gathers there. But I suppose any mini boss so far, you can turn your PvP on and just go and kill people. But this feels more like a question about a world boss. Yes, absolutely. We're currently reworking the industrial zone in King's Battleground, the area where players farm scouts from scrags. We are transforming it into a large tactical battle arena for the open world. A new pack of mobs is being developed specifically for this location, and we hope to release it with the next content update. Additionally, we are working on all open world zones. What's our plan? We aim to significantly improve open world gameplay. To achieve this, we are working on detailed gameplay maps for the open world. Similarly to how we're refining progression mechanics, we are applying the same level of detail to open world zones. The core and open world bosses aren't intended to be highly challenging bosses for intense boss fights. Instead, their purpose is to provide necessary resources for character progression under a properly organized contested gameplay environment. For this reason, we don't want the core and world bosses to be excessively difficult, as it would break the intended gameplay concept we're developing for them. The said bosses should still be challenging but not hardcore difficulty. For players who enjoy hardcore PvE boss fights, we are preparing content that includes more challenging versions of the core and bosses. That's the dungeons. The core and boss content is the open world is about different types of gameplay, providing enough difficulty to keep interesting, while also allowing space for tactical contest gameplay. Contested doesn't always mean PvP, more often it's PvE. For example, who can claim the boss first, grabbing the boss at the right time while other players are focused on different spots, and knowing the layout and positioning are all part of the tactical gameplay we aim to achieve in the current open world. So what, wait for someone to attack the boss, they take some hits, then you kill them, then you get the boss? To support this, we are refining level design and organizing all boss spawn points as convenient mini battle arenas. We want there to be many bosses and we want them to be engaging and accessible. There's still a lot of work left to be done in this direction. That would be good. If you find the boss first, then you kind of like get locked in an instance and you fight the boss. Kind of like Final Fantasy, where you randomly walk and you just warp into an instance to do the fight. That would be nice. That would be nice. World release for testing, 6 months. Bonus question 3. Right now, if you don't have an ultra-wide monitor, you can't see your character's whole field of view. Ranged classes can't even see the target they are shooting if it's in the south of them. Are there any plans on adjusting the camera zoom by increasing the camera's max scroll out distance? Or do I have to buy an ultra-wide monitor if you're going to play serious PvP in the future? In the last update, we increased the camera field view, allowing players to zoom out further. Additionally, we will add UI scaling options for players who find it difficult to play with a locked camera. We already have free camera option similar to how it works on mobile games. Yeah, I suppose so. Bonus question number 4 for cycle 6. Are you trying to make healers obsolete with the upgraded, overclocked, oxygenated chips and make blast medics unplayable with the severe mana changes and reducing boss damage? When are you going to make blast medic playable again? Some chips and runes Some chips and runes might indeed be too strong, but since players have only recently started using them, we want to observe their impact on the game for a while before making any adjustments. I suppose that's fair from their perspective, but... Bonus question number 5. Why don't you change the mana values used to 10% since there is such a huge community response? The game has become an auto-attack simulator, PvE. In the last patch, we've made balance changes to Blast Medic mana cost. This should help balance the gameplay for this class. We're continuously working on improving and fixing heroes. We began making adjustments to mana with 1 or 2 week delay after identifying the most pressing balance issues. For a pipeline, this doesn't seem like an excessively slow reaction. Yeah, I suppose for them, small team and all that, but they are making the changes, and they also broke some of the scaling from being on spell power and heal at the same time, depending what you're doing, then you're doing that. They balanced the mana on the Blast Medic. So basically what they did on the Blast Medic is when you had scaling for, let's say, your drone, it was scaling from your spell power and your healing power. What they've done is, if you heal somebody, it only scales with your healing. If you send it for DPS, your mana, the amount of mana spent, it will scale with your spell power. So they broke that only for, this is a question specific for the Blast Medic, not the Shaman. But on the patch notes this week, they also changed some of the artifacts that provide mana. They increased the maximum from 200 to 400. So they're making changes, but we're not there yet. We're not there yet. Bonus question number 6. What is your vision of character progression? Is your intent to 1. Push players towards having one character that does it all? Number 2. Have players build their accounts to contain multiple skilled characters that support each other on one account with crafting? Number 3. Drive interaction with other players for the purpose of gathering and crafting, including endgame materials and crafts. Number 4. Some combinations of the above. I would say that all points you mention align with our visions for the game. We always wanted Corepunk to be a game that truly delivers on the most popular MMORPG tagline of the past decades. In our game, everyone will find something they love and choose their own playstyle and development path. Everyone advertises the game this way, and we always wanted to make that reality. This has, of course, led to some system functionality inconsistency and logic not always being fully implemented. However, we are now very close to achieving this goal. I believe that in the next couple of weeks to a month, many questions about what we want for the game and how we envision player gameplay will be resolved. Everyone will truly have something to do based on their interests. Wishful thinking. Yeah, maybe. Bonus question number 7. Why is synthesis not directly tied and locked to profession advancement? Just knowing the pattern and having high enough profession skill, for instance tier 3s, can be made with craftsmen. Tends to push every player first character into construction. It makes no sense to do any other profession, especially given that tier 3 cannot be traded or given to alts at this time. Tier 3 weapons don't exist, tier 3 runes and chips don't seem effective enough to warrant spending time to craft. Construction is currently much stronger than other professions because a lot of progression revolves around artifacts. Next week, this gap might widen further due to the update we plan to release. However, this temporarily until we introduce improvements to other professions, which are also on the way. Each profession will eventually have its unique role in build creation. For example, there is feedback suggesting that tier 3 runes and chips with additional effects are already very strong, even before we introduce the second stage of progression. Tier 3 weapons will be implemented alongside the content update, which is basically this week's. Fair question. I mean, you know, you can just level up the professions to craftsmen. You don't have to max them out, and then you can just use synthesis to do stuff. But construction is the thing to do first in this kind of thing. As far as the question on Twitch, the problem is not the amount of mana we have, but the consumed mana per skill is ridiculous at 20%. Like I said, they haven't touched the salmon on the mana issue yet. They were just dealing with the blast medic, and they're just doing small changes and they're looking at the results and they're waiting. Like I said, this for people that play the game and they have issues with mana and other changes, it's a waiting, it's a nerve-breaking waiting game to see when things are gonna change, because they're taking it very slow on adjusting things. But we will see changes, trust me. We just need to be patient about this, like really patient. Bonus question number 9 for cycle 6, and that's a long one. Do you honestly believe you will have any players left once you finish balancing the classes loot in the game? Week after week, your efforts in this regard consist in permanent nerfs. Severe nerf on drops, removal of blue up kit, nerf on shops, nerf on mana, nerf on tier 3 power, nerf on class after class, nerf to armor, nerf to critical hits. Playing right now seems pointless. Crafting a new set of gear to test your changes take ages or is simply impossible, as we cannot upgrade any items and properly test anything. And any new players quickly face a wall and lose interest. Can you share how much your active players population dropped since you started going this route? Everyone who plays knows it is quite dramatical. Can you consider either giving us some incentives to play while you keep nerfing everything to the ground, or give us a clear roadmap, time frame when you expect to be done and playing the game will make any sense again? It is obvious to us that once we finish balancing and loot adjustments, there will be players who enjoy the game and continue playing with great satisfaction. Ooh, I don't like that answer. The reason why I don't like it, because the way I perceive it is that they say, okay, people are leaving. We care, we don't care, I don't know. But once we fix it, new people will come in and gonna have fun. Political answer, again. I don't know if I like it the way it's been said, but they do have a point. They do have a point. Like, you know, we do what we do. You want to stay, you want to go, but there's always games out there. People come and go. So we're going to do what we need to do, what we feel we need to do. And we do have a bonus question from cycle 5. Do you agree or disagree with the following statement? The game is about mini-maxing builds, which is why we have stud roll items and why they are so valuable. The whole point is that it should be relatively achievable to get good gear. Yes, this includes tier 3s, because good gear isn't what we want. We want to work towards the best gear tailored to our builds. In come the upgraded and overclocked journeys, which will never drop from bosses currently, and thus need to be crafted and or synth to get. And then upgraded in a rarity again, and then rerolled to get the perfect stats. That's the game within the game. Mostly we agree. Minimaxing builds are only one part of the game. But yes, this is a good description of this gameplay. And this concludes Cycle 6 question and answers from Discord for Corepunk.